Hello, and welcome back to another edition of the Medeek electrical plugin. My name is Nathaniel P. Wilkerson, and today I'm going to be demonstrating the new wiring module of the electrical plugin. To start off with, we've added one additional icon to the second toolbar, and this is for drawing the wiring. I'll go ahead and put that back. But before we jump into that, I'm going to go ahead and show you the custom wire library that I've also created for this tool. So to get to that, you just click the global settings, and you can see that here you have the wiring tab. And so basically what you've got is a few predefined wire types that I've gone ahead and created, but you can also delete these, add other ones, basically change this up however you like. So just to quickly go over some of these parameters, you basically have two different shape types right now. You have a rectangular profile and you have a round profile that you can use. And when you use the rectangular profile, it then uses these two parameters, the width and the depth, to configure that profile. And then if it's round, it just uses this diameter profile. So technically you could put whatever you want here in these other ones, but it won't actually use them. And then we have the color, which is an RGB, and also the bend radius. So it'll automatically apply a sweep or a bend radius to the wire path. Let's go ahead and add a test wire type here just to show you. So let's just call this test 2. And we'll just go ahead and keep the defaults there. Let's make this one a little bigger than normal. Change the color up a little bit. And let's say a 12-inch bend radius, kind of large. And basically that's it. And this one you can just leave that one's of course grayed out, and click add wire, and there it is. It appears in the list. You can go ahead and delete that. You can edit it again if you like, and you can change up any of the parameters you like. And you can also temporarily disable any one of these wire types by clicking this the green icon, and then you can also turn it back on. And that might be useful, like if you have a whole ton of wire types defined and you want to turn a bunch off so that not too much crowds your drop-down menu in the draw tool. So anyways, in a nutshell, that's it for this. Let's go ahead and close this out. And one other thing I forgot to mention. So basically in the general tab here, we have added a few other parameters. You have the wire label callout, which I've turned on, so it will show the callout for the wire. You also have a prefix here that you can define however you like. And then you'll also notice here we have this new circle segment parameter, and you can basically adjust how many polygons or segments are drawn when you draw a round wire. And so if you don't want to get the model too heavy, you can turn that down a little bit. So I've turned that down to 8, so I think that's reasonable enough. So let's go ahead and try this out. So to get started, just go ahead and click this icon, and the first thing you'll notice that comes up is you have a wire type. So you're not given any other parameters. The wire type is it, and the wire type is defined, of course, in your library. So you'll notice that all these wire types are predefined. I'm going to go ahead and select our 12 gauge 2 wire, and then hit update on that. And the other thing you're going to notice here is that you have input points or select edge. So you can manually select that here by changing it, or you can also use your control key, which will do the same thing. As long as you have to have focus on the screen and not on the menu itself for the control key to work. But once you do that, you'll notice by hitting the control key, I can toggle between the input points and select edge. So let's start with input points first. So when you have input points selected, basically that means you are going to provide the input points. So we'll just go ahead and take our mouse and throw down some points, and then once you get to where you want it to be, you just hit enter, and there you go. There's your wire, and you can see it's a rectangular cross section, and that's your typical Romex 12 gauge wire. And you'll also notice that the label will show the label name, and it's a high number right now because I've been playing with this file for a little while, so I've bumped that way up there, wire number 65. You'll show your wire size or type, and then it'll show the length of that wire. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and hit my control key real quick. I'm going to go to select edges, and I'm going to go ahead and click this. And notice as you mouse over each one of these, it will find that edge, um, and it will then find any connecting edges, so it knows kind of that there's a polyline there. The other thing too is that these edges that you have to use need to be in the root of the model. They can't be contained within any groups. I've done that on purpose to kind of keep things simple. So basically, these are kind of like your little temporary edges, I guess, that you might get rid of later. And you'll notice too, when you click on this, it goes ahead and creates the wire, but it does not delete these edges that you have here. So it's up to you to remove those edges, or just go ahead and hide them, or whatever you want to do. And then of course, let's go ahead and change, for instance, let's go with say 6 gauge wire here, and we'll go ahead and click this one right here. You can see that's a nice big round cable. Let's try 10 gauge wire, Romex, and you can see that I created these kind of all sorts of different directions and such just to test them out. But yeah, that's pretty much it as far as creating wires like this. Let's go ahead and that's a nice big 4 gauge wire. You can see that you've got these wires all drawn, and it's telling you the lengths, and basically yeah, it's fairly straightforward. The label, of course, is contained within the group of the what I call the wire assembly. And then if you'll notice here, we have this new dimension layer, number 4, that I've created for electrical wiring, and that's specifically for the labels for wiring, because you might want to have the labels on for like switches and such, but you might not want them on for the wires, and maybe you just want to have those toggled off. I mean, you might want to have it conveniently on when you're adding up how much cable you got to buy for a job or something, but then you can just turn it off quickly. And then I've also created one other layer too, called the electrical wire layer, and that will specifically for the wires themselves, right? So we have basically a rough, a finish, and now a wire layer for the wiring. I think that pretty much covers it. The only other thing I think that might be of a little bit of interest is, well, let's go ahead and, for instance, let's turn off that electrical wire layer for a second, and I'm going to take this little group of edges, go ahead and delete that, and then turn that back on. Now, if you right click on this guy, you can do what I call regening. So you can regen the wire assembly. And the reason why you might want this is maybe you've gone in here manually messed something up and you just need it to redraw. Okay, I'm going to actually delete this out of the way just because there's too much going on here. I'm dealing specifically with this one wire group here. So you can see there's also 2 other items. You can edit the wire assembly, so if you need to get in here and change the label or change the wire type, so let's say we change it to a 12 gauge wire, you can do that. And then let's change this, say we want this to be called, and you don't have to it doesn't have to be named wire or anything, it could be whatever you want to call it, right? Home run 1. I don't know. And you can see the label's been changed now, and so has the wire type. So yeah, it's nice to be able here and just modify things if you need to. And the last item that I wanted to show you guys real quick is if you do the edit wire path, what happens is that you actually creates a temporary, it hides the layer, electrical wire layer, so you actually can't see that. And then it creates a temporary path from the original points. And then what you need to do is you need to actually click into this group. And then once you're in the group, you can select these different segments, I guess. But you can add more segments. You can change the length. You can basically do whatever you need to do here. For instance, let's just go ahead and oh heck, let's just add a couple pieces over here. For instance, maybe I want it to go like that instead, right? And let's get rid of this one here. Okay, so now we've changed the whole wire profile. And then just go ahead and hit update. And see, and then it just goes ahead and redraws it. And so you can, do that as much as you want, as often as you need to. And like I said, if for instance, for whatever reason, you get into this group, and let's see here, let's just mess it up a little bit here. Okay, so now I've accidentally somehow got into the group itself and deleted a bunch of stuff. Just click on it and hit Regen Wire Assembly, and it'll bring it all back. So that's pretty much it, I think, for the new wire module. Again, I don't know, how often this will be used. I've just had quite a few requests for it lately. People saying they would like to be able to draw wiring. So I figured, heck, it's not that hard to do. We might as well add it in. So, anyways, give me any more suggestions you might have on this. It's still kind of, I wouldn't say it's beta anymore, but if there's some good ideas that could make it a better tool, I'm always open to changing things up a little bit. And once again, thank you everybody for your support, and we will talk to you later. Thank you.